How are you doing, Connor?
Certified gamer. That's how
Certified
I'm doing.
gaming moment. My name is Jacob or Jay. This is just a little test demo to see how this works out. See how we feel about it. Turn myself down a little
Tossing
bit.
eggs at the wall, if you will.
I will not. Um. So let's we have this channel that's got some stuff written down in it, and I'm excited to get into some of these
I'm
because
not.
the first one's pretty tame. So uh that was the 23rd. That was 3 days ago. What day was that of the week? That was Saturday. So I went into work Friday night, Saturday morning, and we had these the shelves were tied and like laundry detergent, Febreze, stuff like that. And one of the things I went to put on the shelf, that spot was taken by a product that wasn't what I had in my hand. So I took what was on the shelf off and went over to one of the price scanners and scanned it. And on the bottom right hand of the screen, it'll say where it goes, like what aisle, what shelf, and what section, right?
Yeah.
And it just said, instead of saying like 2, 3, 15, it goes consumable. And I'm like, no, this is laundry detergent actually. And then I caught on to the price. And normally these like bottles are $13. And it said clearance $1.26. And
Well,
so
if it's
I
that cheap, you have to drink it.
yeah, I flagged over a coworker. Coworker two, one of the ones that you talked to, Connor. He
Yep.
um he kind of looks at it and the scanner goes away, so I rescan it and he looks at it and he just kind of like leans forward and he points at the price, points at the laundry detergent, and then signals over another coworker. This coworker has, I can't remember what he has, and I feel bad. He has a I don't want to say uh, disorder, but
Issue?
he's got it's not ADHD. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he's like he like hyper focuses on some stuff,
Okay.
and he was looking at this, and he's getting ready to have a kid. So this is also going to segue into something else because he thinks he's having twins, but he's getting ready to have a kid. So he's like trying to like get a bunch of stuff for like stockpiling because they're going to get a house, they're going to have kids, all that kind of stuff. And it's like good on you. And he comes over like we're still on the clock. This is 35 minutes into my shift. I figured this out. We don't have break for another hour and a half, and so I put the stuff back on the shelf. I'm just like whatever. He comes over and he grabs like 3 bottles and starts to walk away. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, I was going to put it over there. And I'm like, no, like you literally can't do that. He's like, okay, well, can you hide it for me? I was like, no, both of these options, one of us gets fired. What are you like? This is literally like on the list of things to do in the store. It's like, don't kill people. Don't hide product. It's like number 2 on the list. And I'm like yelling at him because everybody else is like, I'll grab like a bottle on break, but this guy, there's 6 on the shelf. There's 6 of these bottles on the shelf. He's like, I'm gonna buy all 6 on break. I'm like, what? But
Why?
like, I
How much
understand.
laundry are you doing?
I understand like grabbing it and like saving it, but it's also like, oh, maybe there's not gonna be 6. Maybe like the customers weren't really gonna know because one, it's on a shelf that says $13. It's in the wrong spot. And even if I put it on, like we got little racks for clearance stuff, even if I put it on that, it's not going to show the price
Right.
because the morning shift hasn't come in and put the clearance tags on anything. So I was just like, I'll just ask my boss. He said, just leave it on the shelf. First break hits, and he buys 2 of them. And I was going to buy one and set it in the car, but I was like, I don't really care that much if, because I know other people are trying to like grab it and save money. It's like I'm not in that big of a hurry. Go
Right.
through the day. There's like 5 left. Somehow I grab 2 because I was gonna buy one for myself and I was gonna buy a second one And if anybody had gotten from like my shift, if anybody had gotten up there and was like, "Damn, I couldn't get any," I was just gonna give them that one, just
Right.
like in case anybody like really needed it. Nobody really needed it, so I got those two now. But just the look on this guy's face when he's like, "Hey, can you hide this for me?" And I'm like, we fired somebody like 3 weeks ago for doing this. I'm like, I'm
A
not
bold choice.
like I respect the hustle, dude, but come on now. And also, I didn't. It was like not freezing cold or like boiling hot, but I didn't want to put it in the car and leave it in there in the temperatures because I didn't want it to like melt.
Right.
Because it was like a pretty warm day, I think. Even for it being midnight in a parking lot, it was a little heated, but it's because the asphalt soaks up the heat.
It's been really
Um,
nice recently. Kind of cold.
Dude, there's a nice breeze when you're pushing in those carts. It is nice.
Fucking mint, bud.
Um, Speaking of the coworker that we play games with,
Yeah.
I've been fucking with him a little bit because at work we were talking about actually I don't think I can get into the specifics of what we were talking about. It wasn't anything bad, but it was just like uh talking about people's ages, and I was like, I assume that if they work here, I'm probably okay to be like, hey, they're cute.
Right.
Like, and just as like an overall statement, because we had gotten to a long conversation about it, I was like, inherently, there's nothing wrong with looking at somebody and going, hey, this person is attractive. It's how you say it and what you do with that. I don't want to say feeling, but the actions you take because of thinking this way.
Yeah.
Like, it's natural to look at somebody and think they're handsome or pretty or beautiful, but you don't have to be a creep about it. You just be like, oh, it's nice seeing that person. They're nice.
Yeah.
And they were talking about ages because I think it was one of their friends in college was like, this is gonna sound my friend's friend, but my coworker's roommate in college was hitting on high school girls.
Oh, okay.
And when he found this out, he was like disgusted for obvious
Yeah.
reasons.
Uh-huh.
And so we were talking about that, and we are going through like the people that work there, and just like, most of them in our shift or in the morning shift are just like older people. Like I think within the 30 below range at work, there's 7 of us. And then there's like 20, 30 people that are above the age of like 50. Like there's a wide gap, but we all get along pretty well, so it's not like anything really matters. We all know the struggles. Um, so we're talking about that, and I look at the coworker and I say, there's only like really one person here that I would actually like care about what their age was. But again, if I think if they work here, I'm probably fine. And he looks at me, and goes, "Who is it?" And I lean. We were sitting on the bench at break, and I leaned forward and I was like, "Here's the best part. I'm not gonna tell you because I know for the next 2.5 hours of our shift, you're gonna be brooding in your mind about who it is." And he just like he gets all worked up, and he's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Is she on our shift?" It's like, "Okay, we're doing this." No. We go through all these questions, and he narrows it down, and he's like, "Okay, it's either this person or this person." And I'm like, "Okay. What if this was like a 10-minute conversation?" We're walking back to our aisles and stuff, and he's looking at me and he's like trying to figure it out, and I'm like, "Wouldn't that be funny if there was nobody and I was just making you play this guessing game for fun?" And he just goes, "Fuck you," and walks away.
Terrorize.
He's like,
Moral of the story is terrorize your coworkers, man.
terrorize the coworker. Just like, you don't have to actually do anything malicious, but just like planting a seed of like, you know what? I like somebody here. And then your friends who like truly care about you are going to be like, ooh. And you could be like, it's me. I'm the person I care about.
Right.
I am I am the one. I go into that bathroom, I look in the mirror and I think, damn.
Damn, he's hot.
Damn. Hey, you come here often? And I walk into the stall. End of my day. So that's that's probably my favorite. And then you showed, and then we had that accident where the Coke got spilled, and then you showed me that picture of the guy knocking over the GameCubes off the shelf.
Yeah, that just
GameCubes, the Wii's.
that poor guy, man. And like nothing even happened to him, but he was so afraid he was like putting his jacket on and getting ready to leave. Like it was so bad. So
Oh
panicked.
no. I mean, at that point, it's like I probably don't make enough money to cover this. I'm leaving.
Right, like yeah, there's no way. I mean, it was thousands of dollars of merch for sure.
Oh, you know
Oh,
what? That's gonna leave me. That's gonna leave me to segue because I don't think I told you about this one.
oh yeah.
Between when I worked there last time and when I started working here again, the the first and second shift had left out a frozen pallet or two in the back room floor,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there. It was like ice cream and stuff. And again, one of the guys that we talked to, there's like three of them, but those three are usually like we're usually around the store at almost any point in time. He described it to me. He walked up, he grabbed the tote of ice cream, and it just folded in his hand. And he just goes, "That ain't right." $6,000 worth of product loss
Oh,
because somebody didn't look at the pallets and think that's ice cream. We should move that.
this ice cream will surely survive.
Yeah, it was just
Hit him
like,
with the floor could have a little ice cream as a treat.
yeah, the floor got some Coke and Sprite the other day.
Dude, it literally made its own float.
Yeah, that one I felt kind of bad for because the manager. So here's the awesome part is like if something gets broken, as long as we didn't like actively try to break it, they just write it off as loss. You don't get pay. You don't have to pay for it.
That's nice.
Um, or else my manager who's driving the forklift would be paying for a lot of Coke. And all three of us who like went back there to clean it up. He walked. This guy, excuse me. This manager walked through the store like half the store distance, and it's not a small store. It's a super center size store. Walked halfway across the store, found me, and said, "Hey, I had an accident with some Coke in the back room. You wanna go help blank and blank go pick it up?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I walked back there, and I thought at first it was gonna be like the bottles. It was the cans, and they had fallen from like 6 feet. I was like, "Thank God nobody's hurt." But he was in a hurry because the forklift was dying, and it was very, very poorly wrapped. You're supposed to wrap the product completely around with this like 12-foot thick wrap, or I guess long wrap.
Both of they could be monstrous.
Both of those all the way down and up, and then like wrap the bottom of the product pile to the pallet to make sure it doesn't just slide off. There was one layer of wrap,
Oh,
and this was almost like 6 foot, maybe 5 foot tall stack of Coke and Sprite, and didn't get a single can out of that accident. I was very upset. But I mean, they gotta like for reasons they gotta make sure it's all there, and because if
just
go ahead.
go ahead. I'm just imagining like the cacophony of noise as several thousand cokes hit the floor. Like even in boxes, that's gonna be so loud.
They were like um I think we only had to end up throwing away like 20 boxes, which wasn't a lot. The only reason
Right.
we had to like put them in a cart to like set them as damages because the boxes were popped open and the cans had fallen out.
Okay.
So I don't know what they do with it past that point because I know that in some cases we can just like I think in that one we have to throw them away because they're all shaken up now from the fall. But if
Mhm.
it were to like pop open and one falls out, Usually you just put it in, and then the people in the back tape it up, and then you can just like put it on the shelf because it's not like unsellable, basically. Sounds a little weird, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's the way the world works.
it's just like our store is so fucking shafted on some products where it's like you either get the taped up box of Sprite or you don't get a taped up box of Sprite. Period.
No Sprite.
Oh, speaking of, one of the older guys came back into the room and just pulled a pallet through as we were cleaning up, and he just looks over and he goes, "No, my Sprite!" And it's like, I'm glad that I work with people that can have that sense of humor. I know the manager who had dropped it was like upset because obviously wrapped poorly, and he just forklifts dying, but because the for other shifts didn't charge it. But it's like, I'm glad that those people can like just take a walk, have a laugh, just
The only way you get
get
through
it
the day,
done.
man.
Yeah, just get it over with. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've got any similar stories aside from the GameCube one, which if you want to tell
Well,
that one.
I mean, sure. So working at a fairly large distributor of pre-owned video game stuff back in the day, a friend of mine, well, vague friend, a coworker, we'll say, acquaintance.
A
Uh,
human, if you would.
yeah, a human being. We would usually sit in this side room, a fairly large office, sitting around this large table, and we would clean up Wii's for reselling.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there with toothbrushes, scrubbing away in silence. Everyone has headphones in. And for whatever reason that day, I turned my headphones off and was just enjoying a silent moment. And I hear this crash, this undescribable cheap plastic smashing on concrete noise, and then steel behind it, which was even scarier. And I'm thinking that the floor has fallen through somewhere in this building because the building was fairly old. Um,
Yeah.
well, I go into this side room right near the office I was in because that's where I thought the noise had come from. And I just see a man crawling out from under what must have been several hundred GameCubes and Wii's and putting a coat on. Like he had caught the coat or something. And he just looks at me and goes, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, I think those fell on you. I step out of the room because I don't know the guy very well, and I'm like, okay, he's alive, so we're good. I step into the side room and begin describing this to my coworkers, good friends of mine. And then he wanders into the room and goes, guys, I think a shelf fell. And everyone in this room is listening to me describe the action that he just went through as he tries to play it off as if gravity had suddenly stricken these shelves so heavily.
Just fucking
And
intensified in one specific spot.
yeah, exactly. And like we all step into that side room and everybody's like, okay, so I guess we call the boss, that's the only thing you can do in that moment. The boss comes out of his office and he's just like bright red, like filled with anger. And he's like, who? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think it was, and I kind of point in the direction of the guy, because there was another office. It was a bunch of cubicles with a bunch of people in it. I was like, I think he's in there. I don't know the guy's name because I didn't. And he goes in there, and this guy comes out literally being led like a puppy, looking massively guilty. We get inside the room, and the boss finally just goes, you know what? I can't be mad at you. If it fell, then it wasn't put up right. Just get this cleaned up. And he kind of gestures to everyone.
Yep.
We spend the next 2.5 hours putting everything back up. And at the end of it, this guy nearly pulls the shelf back down.
I.
And the
Man.
entire room looked at him with great violence. It was so bad, dude. Oh, it was awful.
I can't.
I,
I think. I think the only time I've ever had to like not do my job and do somebody else's job specifically was within. It was my training week the first time. I say the first time because I worked there before. I left. Now I work there again. Um, there's a whole shift dedicated to breaking down a truck, because sometimes a truck comes in and it's got pallets that are mixed areas, and if we get those, we literally wouldn't be able to do our job because we would just be running around with like a bunch of chickens with our head cut off.
right.
So there's a shift dedicated. There's like a group of people who come in. And they organize a truck. That's all they have to do. They just look. They say, this says home, home pallet. This says pets, pets pallet. Pets pallets are usually organized, but sometimes I was working in our like health and beauty area. With like shampoo, conditioner, toothbrush.
Hmm.
I moved a toothbrush and I looked down and I was like, those are dog bones. Okay. So we set those in, like, when you get that and that happens, it's like we can't expect them to go through every single tote, make sure every single product. When it says HBC on the tote, that's not their job to make sure. It's like it already says that, so that's not their problem. But they had a truck, and my manager at the time opened up the truck and went, "Oh my god!" And the truck had a rough journey or something, because most of the stuff wasn't on a pallet. It was like between the pallets. Uh, None of it was organized at all.
No wrappings, no markings at all.
None. Well, the
Ugh.
boxes had markings, but they weren't like we had to do basically what second shift job was supposed to do, because I worked
Right.
third shift. The the process for us to do this, because obviously the people that have been there longer need to do their job. So the trainees, who was like my manager who was training us, myself, and then I think four other employees. Um,
Yeah.
it's also important to note that I think I'm the only person in this group of 6 or 7 of us that is over 5'6". So
Tiny little people. Got it.
they're all very small, and I don't want to say like teeny tiny, but if there was a heavy box, literally all of them looked at me. So we're moving all this stuff out, and like the manager's like, this pallet, hands us the product, says what it is. We go to the pallet, set it down. We take our break, we take our lunch, we take our second break. Our 8-hour shift is supposed to be putting stuff on the shelf. That is our job. To organize this truck, 6.5 hours
Oh man,
of
that's a
just
lot.
home, pets, home, sports, toys, sports, home. Um, wasn't a hard job. If that was all I had to do for 8 hours, that would be the best life ever in some cases. But apparently that's too hard and too complicated for some people because they just didn't do it. Like there wasn't even a hey, our people didn't show up, or hey, like the truck came in late. It was just they just didn't do it. So we don't know what they
Right.
did. And specifically to go on to this, like even now, like our shift is getting our hours cut. The way that it was worded was tremendous hour cuts.
Ooh.
Uh, 200 hours cut a week.
Okay, so that's a bad sign.
It is a bad sign, but I will say it made me very happy that I got to work the whole 8-hour shift. I wanted to go home
Right.
early, but I'll take the money. And if they feel like I can do the job, because so I got hired back on at the same time another guy did who got transferred from another store. They sent him home before he even clocked in.
Oh wow.
He got there and they said, just go ahead and go home. Another guy got sent home 2 hours into the shift. The guy who's my ride got sent home early, which we thought was astounding because they definitely weren't going to get all of their load done. But the boss was like, just do this and then don't worry about the rest. Because
Sure that'll go well in the long run.
our manager just doesn't care at this point. I remember at one point in time, this manager looked at me and I had a pallet left and I had like uh, 30 minutes left. And I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to run through this. And they were so sick and tired of upper management that he just looked at me. He goes, "You want some overtime?" I was like, "I mean, just till I get the pallet done, if that's all right." He goes, "Take as much time as you want."
Oh wow.
I almost said his name. The guy that I work with, that you talk to,
Yeah.
we clock out at 6:30. When the boss said that, he was there until 11.
Oh.
He was getting shit done, but he says he remembers that our manager was like, "Go for it. Take as much time as you want." That was
Our
the
cuts
only
are the
time that
worst.
happened, but yeah.
I remember back when I was working, I was working at a prison for a while, and they did, when I first got on, they were cutting hours. There were too many staff members, and they cut hours,
Isn't that funny?
which
They
was
hire you and
rough.
cut hours.
Yeah,
Seems
so
kind
they
of
hired
counterproductive.
people and then they cut hours, but it didn't affect us. It was affecting some of the older guys that had been there a long time.
Yeah, they ask him to take
Um,
vacations and shit.
because yeah, they basically they make too much money and they wanted them to take a break. It was like, okay, whatever, it doesn't affect me. And then they kept cutting hours so severely that we lost most of our staff. And I remember I had only been on shift, I don't even know, maybe 2 weeks. So I was barely done with training. Um, and you're in one of the most dangerous places on earth, a maximum security prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being alone for the first time in a cell house, which isn't really supposed to happen, but it does. Um, and the feeling of being like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm the only person in this building that has keys right now. I don't like this. Like, and shortly thereafter, things went sideways and lockdown started. And they tried to bring new people on, and no one would. Like, nobody would get the job. And so it literally devolved into like 25 people running a prison for a short time. And it was the scariest but coolest experience for me. It was so interesting because as long as you keep, good relations with everyone, you don't have problems. No one's going to come after you. These are people at the end of the day. They're not anything other than that. And I will never, ever forget the feeling of being like, I'm the only person here, but I don't feel unsafe about it. Like,
That's
it was
yeah.
just, it was peculiar. You're behind like 30-foot concrete walls, locked inside of a, half-mile wide facility. And you're just fucked. Like, if anything goes wrong, it's the end of your life.
That's like almost
Like,
near perfect zombie apocalypse outbreak
exactly.
scenario.
Yeah. And then, like, 6 months later, I remember we had a power outage, and that's not really ever supposed to happen. But the backup generator had died. And I can't describe to anyone who's never experienced it the immediate adrenaline rush of hearing power die in that facility. It was exactly like a movie. Like, you could hear the doom, and then it was just pitch black inside this
Yep.
facility. Like, nothing could be seen. I was on nights, and it was insanity. Like, I walked up and locked my doors. I was working at that time with the some of the older guys. um and of course they're very easygoing. They've been there a long time, and they're mostly, I won't say good people, but they don't cause trouble. um and when the power went out, my coworker panicked. He had been there a lot longer than me, but he just panicked. Like, you could see the whites in his eyes. And I was just like, sit down, lock yourself into the cage. I'll go lock the doors up. No big deal. Um, and I remember spending like the rest of that night almost hoping to hear the noise again because it was so stunningly quiet. Like, a prison is never a quiet place. And hearing everyone have that momentary, like, oh wow, that's terrifying. Even the other guys inside, everybody has that scared moment. And it was just bone silent in the prison for like 10 minutes afterwards. And then the noise starts. It was so cool. Oh,
Just
I
that
miss
that
it. It was
like
so
that split second of just poof, nothing.
yeah, you hear that low thrum that's always there that you never notice. It's imperceptible in most cases. Not being there, its absence is deafening. Like, it was so
Yeah,
cool.
it is. It is crazy how much your brain can pick up on things where it's like, I've toned this out for so long. Where did it go?
Yeah.
Like, it goes along with the you never know what you have until you lose it.
Exactly, but to the scariest degree. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't breaking up with someone. This is just terrifying.
Yeah.
I need you to explain what number 3 is. I
Okay, I
need
was
you.
about to ask.
I need you to. I know it's
I was about
totally,
to ask.
for viewers, this is totally out of left field, but I have to know what number 3 is, Jay.
Okay, so number three goes back to the workplace because this was happening. This happened after the when we were talking about coworkers' ages and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I got sent over to help one of our friends, and normally their area is very, I don't want to say hard, but the people that go over there usually don't do a good job in helping them.
Right.
So, for example, usually they have there's different systems of like measurements on like how product is organized. There's pallets, then there's M carts, and then there's L carts.
Okay.
That's a small, medium, large. Small is the L cart, medium is the M cart, large is the pallet, depending on how big the pallet is. But uh, there's one coworker that for an entire 8-hour shift can barely get through an L cart, and
Okay.
I'm gonna use pets as an example. Pets. Somebody the other day, I was told, took the full 8-hour shift to get through 2 pallets in pets and an L cart in pets. Full 8-hour shift. When I worked there the first time, I ran 26 pallets in a shift.
Ooh, that's a lot.
And it feels they've told me it feels exceptionally rude to compare me to this person or this person to me because of how different our work styles are. But they've said they cannot get the image out of their head of 2 other people. I had a stack of pallets so high that 2 other people had to lift up the pallet above their heads and stand on other pallets to get it on the stack of pallets. This was like the forklift usually stacks them this high.
Right.
And it wasn't like that day was exceptionally hard because when you get bags, like the pallets of the bags, you can throw those very fast. It is incredibly easy if you have like the endurance and the uh, if you know where things go off the top of your head, you could look at it without reading the number and you could just throw. And your
Hmm.
product per minute goes fucking through the roof. But to go back to the section, I was gonna go help him. One of my friends in another section, Frozen's, and we're going through an aisle, and he's already got the boxes laid out. He already knows where they're gonna go. All I have to do is look at the box, find out where it goes in that section, put it up. Uh, he's on the left hand side. I'm on the right hand side because it's an aisle of Frozen. I go all the way through my aisle. I loop around and get 3 or 4 doors of his done as he meets me there. And I said, "Hey, did I do a good job?" And we both shut the door, and he looks at me dead in the eye, smiling, and goes, "Jacob, I'd suck your dick." And another coworker is in the aisle, and he just goes, "It's good to know the level for entry for fellatio for you is this low."
Right. Like,
And I'm just
it's
like,
not a demanding thing.
I looked at him when he said this, and he's smiling, and I'm just like, is this a good or a bad thing? I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if this is good or bad, but just he goes, it was just off the top of his head, and he wanted to say something for the shock value, and I was like, you got it. That was fucking funny.
Man.
If we weren't so low on people who run the area that I work in, because there's 4 or 5 different sections that count as like individual areas that you work at.
Yes.
Both of the people so 2 of our friends work in different sections each, and both of them would love to have my help, but the manager that is in charge of the area I work said we cannot lose any more people from this group. I will kill you if you take him from me. So it's like I feel like like wanted, but also it's like I understand that I'm just a body, and that's better than nothing.
Right.
But I don't know. I have a huge issue with knowing if I've done a good job or not. Not that I need reassured, but I don't want to look at something and be like, you know what, I did good today, and then the managers are like, yeah, that was pretty slow. You know what I mean? Because then it's
Yeah.
like, then in my head I get complacent and I do it at that level, and I don't know that other people are like want a little bit more, but I also know I can't give a little bit more. It's like it's a weird headspace to be in
I
when you're
mean,
working at a job to put
validation.
up product.
Yeah, like validation, especially in a physically demanding job, validation is very important, I think. You know, if you do a job that's very hard on your body and at the end of it you get told you're slow or you suck, that's not fun.
Yeah, because like you
Um,
literally can't do more.
right. Like I've given you everything I possibly could.
And you told me
I
it's not enough.
remember, yeah, like I remember when I was at the prison, they put me on yard staff one night, yard staff being the guys who respond to calls for help.
Mm-hmm.
So if a guard gets jumped on or if a situation is too tense, they call for help and the yard staff go run it. Um, when I finally got people in to help me with the cell house that I was helping to run, they put me on yard staff for a night because they basically just needed a body. They needed someone, even though I wasn't really trained to do it. And I will never forget feeling so wanted because it was like I did it one night, and after that, the yard sergeant consistently tried to put me on yard staff and got told no by our captain every night for 3 weeks. Like, because the captain was like, he doesn't have the training or the experience to be on yard. He can't.
You know how you
And
get the
after
training and
that first
experience
night,
by doing it.
right, and like after that first night, because I had ran, I don't even know. I think because I had a pedometer at the time, I think it was like 30,000 steps in a night. And for me as a bigger guy, you know, at 6'4", and I think I was like 385 at the time. That was a lot. Like I was hurting the next day.
Yeah.
And of course, then on top of that, physical altercations past those runs, you know, because I run a half mile, fight someone, and then run a half mile back to my spot. And like I remember when I got back and they were like, "Yeah, we want you on yard again." My body was like, "Oh no," but my head was like, "I'm awesome. This is great."
Yeah.
Like,
I got to do
yeah,
I got to do the security sweep for the store the other day, which
is
is
it
like
fun?
it's kind of exciting because from my understanding, if you're on like that security, there's the employees who are working, there's the managers, and then like security gets put into their own thing. You shouldn't do it, but if it comes down to it, managers and security are allowed to have physical altercations
Right.
if need be. The employees are not allowed to at all.
Yeah,
If you get
absolutely.
hit, you're just supposed to like protect yourself and like don't like try to get away. Don't
Lay
hit back
down.
if
Go
you
in the fetal
literally
position.
yeah, if you literally can't like hope that there's a manager or security. It's just like a 10-minute thing before break,
Right.
but you're supposed to count how many people are still in the store. Do like 4 or 5 loops around, go through like go to all the back areas, make sure nobody's hiding, and we're
What do you
just
do if someone's hiding? So, as a guy
you
who's
can
run
you can
security
approach
in
them.
multiple jobs, yeah, it's like as a guy who's run security in multiple jobs, if you can't have a physical altercation, because I've had security jobs where I couldn't, it's so frustrating when you find that person who's hiding.
Well,
Because
you're
it's
like
like,
we're so normal like the stock people who are stocking the shelves. If we think somebody's stealing, we're not allowed to say like if
oh, he's stealing.
even if they're like in our aisle and it's like hey the store's closed, we're not allowed to ask them to leave.
Right.
We have to leave them. But when you're doing the security sweep, you're allowed to be like hey you need like come on we need to go. Um,
Yeah, it's security's the best, man. I
it's
love my
it's
security
also like
jobs.
it's also like a small break away from just like the
It breaks
mundane
up the
task
monotony.
of
Yeah.
yeah. So we're doing this, and this is right after. This was really fucking funny because this was right after we just got done finishing picking up the coke and setting it on the pallet, stacking it again. And he's like, "Hey, you want to do like the security sweep?" And I got a little like kid in a candy store. I was like, "I've always wanted to do this." And I was like, "Do you want me to like grab somebody?" And he said, grab so and so." Started walking around, and we go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 count. I think there's like 40 people left at the store when they're calling 5 minutes to leave,
Mhm.
and we're at 10. I see two. I go 11, 12. I look over. I see another one 13. I go 14, 15. He goes, "How'd you get to 15?" I'm like, "I've been counting and pointing this whole time, dude. What's the confusing part? Like you gotta be quick." And we just had this conversation where it's like, so if we start at like, okay, look at a clock, right? Let's assume the path that you take is like a clock. If
Mhm.
we start at 12 and go all the way around, and let's say we count 25 people, we don't continue counting from there. We don't see somebody and then go, okay, 26 or whatever. We go one, right? Or else you're just double counting people. If there's 25 people in there on both times, you've counted 50 people, but there's only 25 people in the store.
Yeah.
So in my head, he's like adding them up. He's like, that person in the red shirt, did we count them? I'm like, I don't. Why do we even have to worry about that? Just like refresh the counter every time we go through. Because once you reset, there's no need to like go through the problem of maybe thinking, oh hey, did we count that person before? You just be like, we passed this point, just count whoever's from this point forward.
Right.
Um, on our last like loop around, there were only 3 people, and they were all in the line. But it was just like that thrill of just like I can, you know what I
I
mean?
could just jump on
I
someone.
can just full send it. Um, what else was it? There was I talked to my coworkers about this. For some reason, there's something incredibly empowering about holding a bleach bottle. Like when you're
Yeah,
standing in an aisle and you're just holding it, you're like, I want somebody to try me right now. Like I just want somebody to walk up and be like, give me your money. Like I just be like, bleach, bam. Your wheezing is being cut off, by the way.
oh, I know. I know.
I'm so sad it's not picking that up.
Yeah.
But
It's my frustration of having actual mic monitoring now.
I feel like there's something the security thing. I feel like there's something else I'm gonna segue into. I do want about the steps thing. I'm gonna get like a little Fitbit to see how much I walk, because I'm usually the pack mule at work where I like take the pallets back and forth.
Yeah.
And in the area I work in, it's like corner of the store to the opposite corner of the store to the back room. So it's like the full distance back and forth.
The length of the store.
I could not take more steps if I wanted to unless I was going out into the parking lot. Oh, hold on. Pause.
What's our runtime at right now?
Right now 52.
Okay.
So we got a few more points to go through.
Yeah.
We got the that's not my poop, that's an animal's poop.
Oh, what?
The Johnny Depp trial.
Oh, yeah.
That's not my poop, that's my dog's poop. Ma'am,
Yes.
the dog literally can't produce a poop this big. You're lying.
I like to think it was comically large for a human.
I like so I don't want to get too much into it. I just really enjoy the memes that are coming out of it, where it's the lawyers are asking Johnny Depp if it's his signature, and he answers the same question 4 times. And on the 4th times, he goes, "Is this the same signature I already said was mine 3 times already?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like the objection hearsays.
Hearsay.
The endless objection hearsay. Ugh.
My favorite is he goes, at one point Johnny Depp just mumbles to himself. He goes, I can read it from an article, but I can't read it from her mouth."
Right.
It's like, I guess, okay. But I just really like him snapping at this like little witty comments and laughing, making the audience laugh.
Just a swell fella. Real nice fella.
You know. And then like the literal like recording of the conversation. Now like today I found out about the poop. That was so fucking funny. I'm glad I put that on there. I put that on there yesterday before I heard about the poop thing. So that was just a little extra crumb, if you would, Dinkleberry onto the topic, but don't want to touch too much into that. Hopefully justice prevails.
Yeah, for real.
The next one, number 5, hand dryer fart. So for whatever reason, I decided I was really thirsty. I just wanted something nice to drink. So I got a half gallon of strawberry milk. My lunch period is 30 minutes. I just sat down and just started drinking milk. Just almost got through the whole thing by the end of it, but I was like, you know what? I'm not lactose intolerant. I like the milk. I didn't think about how much work I had to do afterwards and how much running around I was doing, because I was trying to go home early. Which, by the way, pisses me off that I'm working harder to go home early, so I'm working harder for less money.
Yeah.
But
you're literally getting robbed of effort.
But I digress. I'll do the job if I'm hired to do the job. I'll do it to the best of my ability. That's all I'll say. So the milk did not agree with me, and so I go into the bathroom and I feel it. I'm getting ready to like let it go. No, I don't want to get too grotesque here. I'm getting ready to let it go, and I hear somebody walk in, and I'm like, God, I can't do this. I'm like, I know everybody I work with. I know every single one. I look at these guys and say good morning. I won't be able to look at them the same if they hear this. So I hold it in the best of my ability. Let them go to the urinal. Let them wash their hands. And then they turn on the hand dryer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is it.
This is my chance.
Because I don't want them to get into the hallway, because I know they'll hear it if they go out in the hallway still, because it echoes in the bathroom. Not only do I match the noise of the air dryer. I go a little bit beyond it, and it sounds almost like it, and the person stops, and like I cannot see anything past the stall, but I know in their head they're like, was that the guy in the stall, or did the hand dryer go a little bit longer than normal? And then
Oh
they walked
man.
out, and I was like, I'm like going through the breathing motions, just
Yeah. The sweaty brow wipe.
I am. Listen, I sweat fairly easily. I'll admit it. If I sneeze the wrong way, I break out into a sweat. My body is not built to handle any kind of heat, but
Oh,
oh
that's
my
awful.
goodness, I thought I was gonna die. I thought that
That is
was
the
it.
worst.
And every time, I might cut this part out, so this might just be for us. Every time I would think I'm done and I would go to wipe, it was like I was hitting a refresh button and I just had to go again. It was just never fucking end.
Oh my god. You literally hit the Squidward Krakatoa!
Krakatawa. But yeah, it would just be like wipe, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then I would just hear brrr,
Bloink.
brrr.
This is the end for me.
And now here I am. All right, that whole section's getting cut. Okay. Anyway, um, those were my six. I wrote down six before you wrote down one. You wanna toss
Look,
out your first
man.
one? What we were doing before
My
this?
first. Oh, yeah. So I have several questions to most League players, as I think many people do. As an
League of
outsider
Legends.
looking in, yes,
League
League
of
of
Legends.
Legends, the hit game League of Legends from small indie company Riot.
Right
Um,
games. Right games.
no, just Riot.
It's right
Um,
games. Just emphasis.
so
Right games.
when I get on to get ready to start recording for the night with our friend Jay here,
That's
I
good.
come in and you're pre-gaming with a ranked game so that
Yes.
we can record a ramp.
Yes. I'm warming up in a ranked game.
Uh-huh. As many people do, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Um, you destroyed them with Mordekaiser Jungle
On accident.
on accident because someone stole your lane.
Because somebody didn't take Smite, and I felt confident in my ability to play with Smite. So, to give a little bit of context onto this, we were loading in. I was top, and we had a Kiana jungle who's in my last lobby who's swapped to mid. Then the lobby got dodged. Um, it's supposed to change your summoner spell to Smite whenever you get jungle to prevent this from happening.
Right.
So I assume they went out of their way to swap back to Ignite, assuming they were going to get mid. But the mid laner was just like, I can't jungle.
Which is
All right,
understandable as a mid laner
fair.
who
Like
can't
you
jungle.
queued up, for mid. You got mid. If that guy did not get his role in that situation, he should dodge, or take Smite and go jungle because Kiana can jungle. It is 5 seconds before the game starts, and everybody is spamming Kiana. Please take Smite. You have Ignite because she has Flash Ignite. I last possible second swap from teleport or Ignite. I can't remember which one I was gonna run to Smite, and I just prayed that it saved it. We get into the game. The Kiana should have just went AFK so we could just remake the game, but it's like whatever. We could play it out. Literally everybody but the Kiana is saying thank you. Like thank you Mord for taking Smite. Thank you, thank you. I'm like okay, whatever. Then the Kiana doesn't fucking leash me after I pinged like 7 times. So it's already just like you did this on purpose. You switched from Smite and now you're not leashing me. Like you're just a piece of shit. So I'm going into this hard tilted. I am fuming. I'm about to Krakatoa again.
That
And
makes no sense.
and I go through the clear. I don't. I'm not very familiar with Mordekaiser Jungle. I don't know if it's great. I don't know if it's good. I know it's not great. um, the clear felt okay, but it's
It
just like
just works so well for you.
it
As
just
someone who is not nearly as experienced in League, I was astounded by the amount of clap you created with that Mord jungle. Like, coming in on someone and just demolishing them makes sense as Mordekaiser. Like, in a one-on-one, very few champions, especially in the early game, can take him.
Mord is
But you kept
level
it
6
going.
monster, yeah.
Yeah, like, you just kept it going. Like, the game ended fairly quickly because of a Mord jungle. Like, how do you get jungle ravine against someone who, one, Mordekaiser's not a jungle pick, like, very, very little amount of anyway.
Yeah, how do you get
And
out juggled by a guy who didn't know he was juggling until the last second of the lobby?
right, and you have a top lane that's feeding, but
And okay,
isn't feeding hard enough, I guess.
he wasn't feeding. He did good. He went 10-5.
That's
Um,
outstanding.
the important part to notice, this isn't like this isn't high elo by any means of the word. This is the average for that lobby was plat 3, but you would expect there to be just a small hint of common sense. Not at all. They also had a Vayne mid.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
so we had Kiana top, Mord jungle, Pike mid, Samira Lux bot versus Gnar top, Kane jungle, Vayne mid, Misfortune Lulu bot lane.
I was also astounded by the ability to pull someone through a wall in the jungle. That just,
Yeah, because it
I mean,
pulls. There's like a lot of cool tricks that you could do with Mordekaiser, depending on where you put the claw. Because the claw, like normally, it shoots out like a distance, but you could put it closer to yourself, so you pull them behind you.
right.
Um, also, how the alt cage works depends on your positioning to them. Because I think you might be at the middle of the alt, and they're wherever you're angled is like a straight line to them, and then the wall directly behind them, with you being in the center. But I'm not entirely
Right.
sure. But I ended that game 12-3-7.
Just astounding. If I had been put in a jungle position, pardon me,
Oh, I
if I had
also
been put
built
in a
Frozen
jungle
Heart.
position, if I was put in a position where I had to jungle, like the, especially as someone like Mord, who's not a jungle pick, and then you have a full team comp, the enemy team obviously didn't have these issues, and they still lost by such a large degree. Like, it was pretty much a wash at one point in that game where they should have just FF'd because they knew it was happening. But it's like, I couldn't dream, even if I had gotten a proper jungle pick, being in the mindset of like, okay, I'm going top lane this game, and I've got all these things ready, and then the last possible second, you have to take smite and go a different way with a character who's not meant to do it. It just like, oh, how? Like, I don't know. Uh, Iron player mentality. Maybe I could be more versatile with my champs, but wow, I was astounded, simply astounded.
It felt pretty good, but I don't know that I'm thinking about it, that Kane even get transferred. No, he went Assassin Kane,
Blue Cane?
I think. I also had a 3 level gap on him, but I don't really
Yeah.
know what they all could have gotten away from me. I just waited till they used their movement abilities and ran at them, but I also had a rallies. But that's what was that. That was my warm up before the ARAM games, which hopefully
Yeah.
should I gotta edit down and cut into a little bit. Hopefully shouldn't be too far out. Yeah,
We'll
it
see.
probably will be out before this is.
That makes sense to me, honestly.
I don't know
There's going to
what.
be some editing in this for sure.
Yeah, because I gotta put stuff up and then
Yeah. You got a doctor, a bunch of stuff to put in. You've
cut
got
out
to
a chunk where I had to leave.
cut out a chunk. Yeah.
Cut out the shit stained comments and
The mic failure or headphone failure.
headphone collapse, if you would, of 2022.
I guess that's another good point we could segue into. I think, as someone who's the split mentality between the elos of people who are platinum above and people who are below that, I think Kane's movement ability is the best movement ability for someone of the assassin archetype. Period. It's ridiculous. It's so good.
Going through
Like,
terrain allows him to go through like multiple gank paths and kind of sort of unique clearing, but he could just queue over the wall to most camps.
right, and then it's like it's so much movement and so much. It's such a lack anyway of like the limiters that are the map for him and just for him. Like
But it
very
can.
few
It
other
can.
people can.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's like other people can get over the wall, sure, but most characters are doing that blind unless there's something giving them a vision source there. It's like he just walks right through it, like, hey, and then if he doesn't like the situation, he can just turn around and walk back out.
The only redeeming fact I will say is if he's in combat and he tries to go through like a thicker wall or go through the outside of the map, it will kick him out and it just kind of like puts him wherever it wants to. So
I didn't know that.
it can mess him up because it is a decently long cooldown,
Yeah,
provided he's not uber fed and has like 8,000 CDR, or excuse me, ability haste.
ability haste.
Ability haste that
Yeah,
translates literally into CDR for no reason.
yeah.
But
Oh man.
all right, I think that's enough league talk. I know
Yeah.
Kate's excited to watch this, so she's probably already tuned out.
Completely blanked.
They're just waiting
Oh
for
man.
the fin pics to pop up on the screen.
Yeah, cat. Cat, cat, cat.
Angie, did I? Oh, I gotta show you a picture, Connor. He knows when you're taking a picture of him. He will look at you. He sees the camera and he's like, "Oh, this is what we're doing. Hmm, we're doing this today, huh?" And so, one of my siblings who watches him while I'm at work during the night went to take a picture of him, and he decided it was time for his close up.
Oh yeah, I'd say. Wow.
He was like, "Eh?"
Is that even cat? And
That is a nose, a cheek, and an eye.
an eye, yeah.
And then whiskers that are so close you can see the thickness.
Well, do you think it's time to transition to our wish ad of the day?
Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Well, this is how we bring Kate back into watching.
Of course.
This is how we do it. Okay, let me get to the channel. I need you to show yours, and then I need to quickly find mine.
Okay. How raunchy are we wanting to go? I have a variety of choices.
As long as it doesn't explicitly show anything, like body part wise.
Sure. I mean, it's not showing anything. It's implying some things, but it's not showing anything. Here, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what you think, huh?
Let me find mine again.
My biggest point before this comes up on screen for everyone is who the fuck is the target audience, okay? Who is the target audience for this? Because I need to know. Like, I don't know if this is like a specific community's thing, not to name any names, but I don't know if it's one of those things or if it is.
Hold on, I need to know. Here's something that I like. I look at this immediately and I'm like, is it shaped like that?
Yeah, like is it standing out that far at all times?
Yeah.
Or is this just him? And
is
if
that
it's just him, congratulations, and I have some questions.
That's not. No, I don't think that's a congratulations. That's a what did you fucking run into?
It's comical because it doesn't even look real. Like it looks like someone took a Photoshop of a wolf and just slapped it on there. Like,
yeah, it doesn't even look remotely close to like a bulge. Because here's the thing, that thickness to width,
yeah, that's confusing at
best. That's not his penis, that's his ball.
Yeah, like
that's
is he
tucked away
that
in
much
that
sack that he filled in said nose?
Ugh.
I was pretty proud of that one. Like, on short notice, it's a pretty good wish ad, honestly.
Alright, I've got mine here. Hold on, how long did we look at that? I didn't even look at it for a minute. Also, 300 million customers around the world are using Wish to save big. I don't like that they capitalize big on summer goods, and then they show a women's bikini emote.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the confusion of who is the target audience and what's going on with this man in his life currently. Like,
hold on, no. Hold on, no. Fuck this. Look over there to the left.
Yeah, that was also.
That is a glass phone. Pure glass.
I was more worried about the thing on the right, honestly.
That's definitely like an ass cheek filler thing.
Yeah, like it's definitely a piece of an ass, or maybe a
Piece of
vase.
it, yeah, not not a
Nope,
vase,
no, a piece of a vase,
or
a
it's a
chunk of
like
a
a
vase.
really weird beige colored PlayStation 5. I heard that chuck. I'm glad that didn't make you wheeze. That just got
Oh,
a good firm like
that's because I
chuckle.
choked.
That's good. That's good.
Oh my!
Um.
Thank you, Wish, for all your
Also,
nude shit.
why? I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm not gonna body shame, but it just feels weird that he has those pecs with those abs with the little side chub.
Yeah. It's also like, why is he so astonishingly flat? Like his hands covering the belly button, and I
That's
get that,
that's
but
very simply not his hands, not his hips. Like, look at that waist. That is not. The underwear needs to be up higher. First of all, you see where the indent for the underwear is.
I
Literally,
like to
it.
think that someone spent time in Photoshop to get that wolf on there just right, and they
Just said
didn't
fuck
think of
everything
the
else.
anatomy of the human body at all. And so when they put those underwear on that male model, they just kind of plopped them on just right, and
This
then started smoothing things.
this body is built like how I imagine Mr. Incredible is
Yeah,
from The
exactly.
Incredibles. Like,
He's jacked but chubby, you know?
I don't know.
Also,
Also, go
I
ahead.
don't like the connotation of the wolf howling at the moon and then, his genitals right there. Like if you made that howl, it'd be the most disturbing body pose I've ever seen on a human.
Yeah.
Oh, other shout out to Wish. Stop selling body armor that you say is 4A. It's not, and people are going to die. Anyway.
Natural selection.
Yeah.
Just let them be. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. This is like. Also, look at the what the wolf's standing on. That's not a fucking. That's not a cliff. That's literally just the roof of a house.
Yeah, it's the roof wolf.
It's the roof wolf, the roofle, if you will.
Yeah, suburban America wolves, those are the coolest.
Yeah, it's actually just Fido. He got up. He's yelling because he's stuck. He's not yelling at the moon.
He's yelling because he saw that man standing in front of him.
Yeah, he's like, why is he so tall? Why is he so big? And why is his face on my face on his?
Yeah, imagine being that wolf.
These animals, this species evolved over hundreds of thousands of years through other mutations just to be put on a slightly erect man's body. This is what we thrive for as a species.
The future of mankind. Cheap shopping.
Okay, I think that's enough of a 5 minute segment. That's all the time of the day I'm gonna give that. Now,
Oh, come on. You don't have another
interesting
10 minutes?
interestingly enough, I've got my own. That's not of that nature, but it is the animal. It is the opposite of a canine. It is a feline, and I present to you whatever the fuck this is.
So, when your
I
cat
can
is
read it.
annoying,
I can whenever Finn starts yelling, just
yeah, just blind and deafen and don't let him scream anymore.
you know what I
It's
hate the
just
most.
the
So
Photoshop
so
job.
immediately I know what it is. It says muzzle for a bath. It's to keep them, like, I assume, either calm or to prevent them from seeing the water, because cats can't feel anything. But there is a hole where its nose goes.
Yeah,
So
gotta let it breathe.
you know how animals have that incredible sense to smell.
Yes.
Blinding them does nothing when they can probably smell the familiar sense of what the bathroom is,
Yeah.
and the way that you're holding them, and probably saying the words, "Please don't jump, please don't jump."
Yeah. Don't kill me, please.
Um,
Oh, it's so awful.
look at
It
how
makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like a Hannibal Lecter mask for a cat. Like
it's.
it's just like a no bite.
If I
Like,
put
oh,
that on my cat, he's going to look at me and go, "No one cared who I was before I put on the mask." and I'm going to die.
Like, I don't see a cat. Like, I see, horses and things like that where you put the blinders on and they're like,
The
okay,
muzzle,
this is
yeah.
fine. I don't have to see right now, so I'll just be calm and relaxed. But I don't see a cat taking it the same way. Like, if you do that to a cat, the cat's just going to become like a whirling dervish, a ball of blades. Like,
Yeah, claws and fang, or I guess not fangs, but
tooth and fang.
that thing is gonna like give itself a concussion trying to run around and get it off. Have you
Yeah.
seen them try to get a plastic bag off where they just keep backing up regardless for their own safety? What do you think they're gonna do when they've got a fucking face hugger on them?
Yeah, a Velcro face hugger at that.
It's like they're gonna fucking. And why does it look like it has a hole? I don't think it's a hole, but you see right where the nose is,
yeah,
it's got like a little fabric area for some shit. And it's just like
breathable
why?
fabric.
It's like, but
okay.
Why?
I got another banger for you. You ready?
No, we're gonna keep talking about this one. We're gonna keep going on this one, because why?
Just affirm disturbed. Why?
Just I want to know. Like
I want to know what the guy's thought process was, or the person rather than the guy.
I can tell you exactly.
Who thought of this.
I can tell you exactly who thought of this. Somebody who's never had a cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know what that's gonna do. Its scariest parts aren't the face, and if this is to calm the cat down, you failed.
It's like if you, in most cases, there are some situations where it's like you can try to teach an animal how to do something and it still doesn't like it. It happens. But in most cases, if you get the animal used to certain things when they're younger and you can like control them more, and they're not as strong or sharp claws, like they'll usually, like when they get older, they'll be fine. This is just somebody who just didn't want to do the job of owning a cat.
Yeah, blatantly adopts fully grown cats and tosses them in trash cans full of water.
This is like I don't think your cat's not gonna lay like that. Like the cat just doesn't shut down like a fucking computer whenever you put something on his head.
Button for a cat.
If anything, putting something on the cat's head is the on button, and
also,
they just go full crazy.
You've actually stopped the off button if you put this mask on your cat. The off button on a cat is grabbing the scruff.
Yeah.
And you can't get to it if there's Velcro in the way. Like,
speaking of, my cat's fucking yelling his head off
whole
again.
Face.
I
do. I love the Photoshop job more than anything. Like, ignoring the product itself, it's the fact that someone clearly took a picture of this mask, or whatever you want to call this thing, this torture device for cats, and they just kind of slapped it on vaguely the same shape and direction as this picture of a cat. Like, these are not the same quality images.
Yeah, look at the shading.
Like the shading, the edges aren't like at all blurred. The fur's clipping through in one spot.
Yeah, by its ear. Yeah. It's like
you didn't even try.
You want to know why? Because if you actually put that on a cat, you'll fucking die. I promise you. I promise you. Go up to any cat. If the cat has to have a muzzle, you're not getting the muzzle on.
Yeah, you've already lost if the cat has to be muzzled.
You're playing checkers. It's playing chess. It's like just fucking. Oh my god.
Would be a successful item for Rengar.
Would not.
Yeah, I would stop it. No more jumpy.
No.
No,
he can smell you. All right, that is the wish segment. We're only gonna do one. We're gonna see how it goes.
Expect it to recur because it's too much fun.
It is actually kind of really fucking funny. Just looking at the weird ones. That I have to download that wolf one. I have to save that to put that in the fucking video.
Yeah, you get to look at that forever on your desktop now.
Hold on, I need to read you the name to this. Okay. The file, when I hit save, is Big on Summer Goods. Why aren't you download now? D-phone wish p. Now shop, now like, share, comment. That's the file name.
Nice.
Okay. And I'll probably have to like, I'll probably just cut out like the thing.
Yeah, of course.
But
I don't know if you cut the thing out with the jokes about the glass.
I meant cut out. I meant cut out like the wish part, and then I could just like throw those on, and then just like. scroll over to the side or whatever, but put the main focus on. Actually, no, I shouldn't. I should keep that as small as humanly possible. So one, the guy feels embarrassed, and two, nobody has to see it. I should just cut out all of his body and just leave the wolf head.
Yep. And leave it more confusing.
And just let it ride.
I'm gonna cut the wolf head out, and then I'm just gonna make that my subscription picture that pops up.
I'm just gonna be like, yo, look at this sick wolf, and you're gonna be like, there's a penis in there. Do we have any more points? Oh, fucking huge one to end it off on. Elon owns Twitter now.
Mm-hmm. The world has changed.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good. I think that was a good egg toss. I think that was a good.
Yeah, we tossed an egg.
Good... Now you know what we need to do. We need to get the intro where it's just like either tossing an egg against a wall, like animated, just as egg toss, or like cornhole. It's just the egg goes through the hole or misses and splats.
I like the idea of like the egg getting splattered on the screen and then splitting open into both of our like, you know, our marketable pictures, whatever. I need to get a better one, but
it's just the egg yolk. It's just our
egg.
We could throw two, just have each one splatter, and then it's like my icon and your icon.
Right.
So one after the other. And then it's just like a dartboard, and then it's just like an audience going, "Aww." I think that'd be good. All right, I think that was a good one. Thank you for anybody who listened, followed all the way through. I'm deeply sorry that you had nothing else going on today and decided to listen to all of this. So don't worry, it'll get better soon.
No, it won't. We'll see you again, hopefully.
Hit the outro.